welcome back to another episode of the Natty Project, brought to you by your host, Jared Moore, your co-host, Caitlin Sharpley. Today, we're going to talk about healthy habits outside of the gym, sleep, nutrition, everything like that, and how it all plays a role in your overall goals and the longevity of fitness in general. Last week, we said we were going to talk about fitness stories in the gym. We realized that we do not have enough fitness stories to go a whole episode.
We really just have the only story that we really have is how we met at the gym, but that's about it.
Yeah, so not enough there. So fitness outside of the gym, sleep, nutrition, what else? What else you got?
Stress management. Just healthy habits throughout your day that aren't necessarily related to working out or eating.
So the first one we'll dive into, sleep. Sleep is a really, really crucial part of your fitness journey. It's something that often it gets overlooked by really everybody and anybody until you understand, the science behind it and what actually happens when you're sleeping. So, just a little bit of a background, a little bit of knowledge that you kind of need in order to understand how you're going to grow in the gym. Your growth doesn't come when you're in the gym itself. It's going to come more from when you're fueling your body through food, when you're resting, when you're recovering, whether that means you're sleeping, you're icing, you are taking, a recovery walk, anything like that. That's really where your body has a chance to grow and develop. So, Kate, I'll let you talk about sleep. Just a little bit about, what you think the importance of it is and how it helps your long-term goals.
Well, I used to be in high school especially, I was a person that thought I was thriving off of 3-4 hours of sleep, and now I literally need like 9-10 hours of sleep, or I'm tired throughout the whole day, and I can tell if I don't sleep enough. My brain, I get a lot of brain fog when I don't sleep enough. I'm unmotivated. I just don't want to do anything, and my lifts are not great at all. Just because I'm exhausted and I can't focus and I can't push myself to the best of my abilities. So you want to make sure that you're getting at least, I would say 7 to 9. Do you think that's good? I feel like I just need a lot of extra sleep because I'm pretty active every day, even outside of the gym. So that's why I tend to like a lot of sleep. But yeah, more sleep, better mind, better lift.
I think seven's a pretty fair number for everybody to hit. Even in my case, I won't always hit it, but it's something to consider. If I'm getting up for work at 4:20 in the morning, if I can get to bed at 9:30, 10, I mean, sure, it's not going to be a full 7 hours. It's going to be pretty close, and that's usually my goal. It doesn't always work that way, and I don't always work at that time, but when I do, it's something that crosses my mind because, when you are sleeping and you're short on sleep, if you're sleep deprived, essentially you are starting that next day on the wrong foot. I mean, you're going into it knowing that you didn't get enough sleep. You're probably going to bank on caffeine, which it happens, but your body isn't actually going to, do the things you need it to do at the standard or the level that you need it to. So your workout is probably going to be a little less productive than you thought. You might be a little slow, or you might not be processing things as quickly at work or in school or wherever it may be. So, 7 is a general rule of thumb that you want to stay right around if you can. If you get more than that, that's awesome. With me personally, I can tell the difference that next day and how much I slept, whether it's, even if I got 5.5 hours or I got 7.5 hours, I can feel it. I can feel it in my lift. I can feel it when I'm at work. I'm like, oh, I'm going to need to have an extra energy drink today, or, oh, I feel great. I can get by on just pre-workout today. And that's something that, I'm pretty in tune with my body. I can pick up on those cues, and the more you do it and the more you mess around with it, you'll start to pick up on it. Some people can probably get away with 6 every day of their life, but, there's something that you can do research on, and your body is going through a lot of change and a lot of processes when you're asleep. And there's a lot of science behind why you need 8 hours, they say, as to what your body is doing when you're asleep. So that's something that, I don't want to give wrong information on it. I don't study deep sleep, REM sleep, anything like that. But if you want to do research on it and understand, what's behind it and why everybody says you need that much sleep, then please go ahead and research it. I have enough knowledge to know, what I need for me, but it changes based on everybody as the individual. So that is a very big factor of your fitness journey outside of the gym. Stress management is going to be another crucial point to your hopefully success, but maybe you plateau. Because if you're not listening to your body, and it all goes back to that mental health episode that we did to start things off. If you're stressed out, it's gonna back everything up because your mind is so focused on whatever's stressing you out in the present. In the present, that you're not focused on your lift, you're not focused on your mind muscle connection, you're not focused on what you're eating, you're not focused on your hunger cues, you're not focusing on getting enough sleep. You might not be able to sleep. Might not be able to eat, things like that. So stress management is another key point that you need to focus on. Some days it may be, okay, hey, I need a recovery day, so I'm not going to lift today. I'm just going to take a walk, get my active movement. I'm going to get my steps in. And then I'm going to read a book, or I'm going to do something that's going to, release some of that stress and clear my mind for the next day and get off on the right foot. I'm a firm believer that even on your worst days, you do have to push through. But there's some days that it's not a matter of pushing through. It's more so going to set you up for failure the next day by pushing through. I think to an extent, you do need to push through. But I think there's a certain level within all of us where you need to listen to your body and the cues that it's giving you that, hey, it needs to relax today. Or, hey, I've been working overtime for the last 3 weeks. I need to take 2 or 3 days and lower the weight, but keep moving, things like that. What you got?
I agree with you on that. And there's like a very fine line between knowing when to push yourself and knowing when you actually need rest. And that comes with time, and you'll be able to listen to your body a little more. But going more into like the anatomy of stress in your body, the stress hormone cortisol, which I'm sure a lot of people have had it. When your cortisol is high, you will naturally hold on to more fat. So if your goal is to lose weight, lose fat, which most people is, that will make it a lot harder. And yeah, you might be extra hungry, so that'll mess up your nutrition. It'll mess up your sleep because you're constantly thinking about whatever you're stressing and whatever is going on in your life. And then eventually you're going to probably hit a plateau in the gym and need to take a deload week, which I talked about in a previous episode. And you'll hit a plateau with your weight loss, your fitness journey, your lifting, quite literally everything if your stress is not under control. So it's very important to be able to manage your stress and take out some stressors if you need to. And sometimes that is cutting back on exercise if you're over exercising, because that is another thing that can put too much stress on your body and be detrimental to you.
So there's a little bit of the science side of things for you regarding stress management. And then I kind of want to circle back to the nutrition side of things. I know we've talked about it before, and I know we'll talk about it again, but it really is a crucial part of your journey.
Abs are made in the kitchen.
They are. So with nutrition, I know recently we went into a whole episode about how to track them, what the tracking entails. But I think it just fits into this episode as a whole, when talking about outside of the gym, what really factors into your journey. And nutrition is, in my eyes, number 1 or 2. It's up there. It's really a coin toss. I think, if you can stay tight to the 80-20 rule, and I'll let Kate talk about that. She explains it really well. She kind of put me onto it after my last prep, but it really is a way of balancing your nutrition goals, which go hand in hand with your fitness goals, to your well-being and how you balance your life and your happiness and everything like that. So if you want to talk about the 80-20, go for it.
Okay, so 80-20 basically means 80% whole, nutritious foods, quote unquote healthy foods, if you want to call it. And then the 20% is like your fun foods, if you choose to go out and drink alcohol or have sugar, whatever it might be. But when Jared first came out of his prep, he was very like strict on tracking, and I track my food, but I let myself have like peanut butter and chocolate chips and coffee, and I'll have what kind of coffee I want. Like obviously I'll do a lower calorie one, but Jared was very much almond milk, sugar-free vanilla, and coffee because it was virtually 0 calories. But the first time that we hung out, I actually ordered him a drink that was probably around 70 calories. Like it had, I think, did it have cold foam on it?
Probably.
I feel like it did, like a little bit of cold foam on it. And I ripped the sticker off so that he could not track it. And what do you know? Like it literally did nothing to his body. So I personally, the 80-20 is more of like a 95-5 for me because I have the worst functioning gut on the planet, and I literally have to be so careful about what I eat. So I prefer just to eat my same foods all of the time, because if not, my stomach will blow up like a balloon. Like I won't be able to go to the bathroom. I won't want to lift. I won't want to move. Like it's just so terrible. So for me personally, it's obviously more beneficial. But like last weekend, Jared and I went on a date and we got gluten-free pizza. Gluten-free because I have celiac, so I can't have gluten. But we got gluten-free barbecue chicken pizza and sweet potato fries. I let myself have that. Neither of us tracked it.
We did guesstimate.
We guessed, but I didn't plug it in at all. I just ate what I ate before, then I ate the pizza, and that was about it. And I went on with my day, and the next day I had a good lift. And yeah, so. But when you eat whole foods, I noticed this like a few years ago, even before I started really getting into lifting, the more unhealthy quote unquote foods that I had, like if I would just sit there and have Oreos, I would feel like shit and feel so disgusting like the next day. But when I fuel myself with good ingredients, whole, clean foods, I function much better, and I just feel so much better overall. I am more confident when I eat cleaner because I genuinely feel better. But yeah, and my 80-20 balance, I would say I balance that out with some energy drinks because those are obviously not the healthiest for you, but that's the poison that I pick because I don't drink or anything. So that's my 80-20.
Yeah, I think that hits it. It hits it really well. I think 80-20 is comfortable and very, very doable for anybody, really. You know, so I know, Kate, you know, you said you're 95-5, and that's what works best for you. I would say, you know, I drink very infrequently. I stay pretty tight to protein goals definitely every day. Carbs and fats kind of fall into place. I would say I'm 85-90% of the time where I need to be, and then in prep I'm 105% where I need to be, so it balances out in the long run, just more of a different time frame. You know, if you're going 80-20, it's really a week thing. It comes out to about a day where you're I don't want to say free because it's not like you're trapped when you're staying tight, but it's a day where you're less cautious about what you're taking in and how it's going to affect you.
And when we say 80-20, this doesn't mean like you're eating super low calorie all week and then binging and drinking and eating pizza and fries and burgers on the weekend. That's not the 80-20 balance. It's, for example, on my oatmeal, I put peanut butter and white chocolate chips. Or I've found these new like gluten-free vegan protein donuts, and they're 190 calories. They have 10 grams of protein. Like obviously they're not great for you, but I'll still have them. Or if you want to have a piece of chocolate at night, like every night, but you eat clean foods, whole foods the rest of the day. That's more what the 80-20 balance is. It's not a restricted binge cycle.
Yeah, I kind of want to. We are gonna wrap things up here today. It was the purpose of the episode, but next week we're gonna dive into the 80-20 specifically. I think there's a lot there in terms of what binging entails, what could be signs of binging, what the 80-20 actually is. Like Kate just said, I mean, I eat peanut butter almost every day, and to a lot of people, because it has 15 to 17 grams of fat, that's considered an unhealthy food. It's not, as long as you're buying, natural peanut butter where it's just salt and peanuts. Like it's not an unhealthy food. That's something that I want to kind of hit on, exactly like she just said. If you're spending it, you have to think about the 80-20 logically. And again, we'll dive into this next week, but if you're Monday to Thursday, you're super low calorie, you stay tight, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you get plastered and you have 4 drunk meals across the weekend, there's no way that's 20% of your diet, or 20% of your time.
In term, you're probably going to be in a calorie surplus anyway once you level everything out because you're eating super low, and then the alcohol plus the drunk meals. If you take your average for the week, more likely than not, you will be either in a surplus or just staying the same weight. So there was no purpose of doing any of that in the first place.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap this up. We will hit on the 80-20 next week. That's going to be a very, very in-depth episode. So we will talk to you next week.